All right, let's get into it. We're going to talk about a feeling that so many people have, but it's just so hard to put into words. It's this quiet sense that a whole chapter of your childhood is just blank. Not because something terrible and obvious happened, but because of the steady, silent weight that you started carrying way, way too early. Think about it. If I asked you, what was it like being a kid? Tell me about the carefree, silly, playful times. For a lot of us, that question doesn't bring back a flood of memories. It just brings up this fog, a feeling that the story's got some pages missing. And this quote, it just nails it. It's not about what did happen. It's about what didn't. Those seasons of just being a kid, of being dependent and a little reckless, they got skipped. They were replaced by this need to be the competent one, the serious one, to be the adult in the room long before you were actually an adult. And here's the thing, that little grown-up version of you, they never really went away. They're still there, kind of running the show in the background, quietly shaping your relationships, what you're afraid of, and yeah, even your biggest strengths. So this whole explainer, it's about finally getting to know that child's ghost and seeing how it's living inside you right now. So, let's put a name to this experience. Because it is so important to see this not as some kind of character flaw, but for what it actually was, a really clever and frankly brilliant way to survive. The clinical term is parentification, but let's be honest, that word feels a little cold, a little academic, doesn't it? It doesn't quite capture the real gut-level feeling of a kid's brain having to learn how to be a crisis manager.
And this is the disconnect, right, between how it looks and what it really is. What the outside world saw as incredible maturity was, in reality, a survival adaptation. What looked like strength was actually your nervous system learning to live on high alert 24/7, and the competence everyone praised you for. That was you responding to crises you should never have had to manage in the first place.
And let's be really clear here. The skills you built were nothing short of incredible. You became an expert at reading a room's energy, a master forecaster of moods. You were putting out fires before anyone else even smelt smoke. You basically mastered emotional labor before you even hit algebra. These are real, powerful skills.
But here's the catch. There's an unexpected cost that comes with all that early competence. It's like a bill that shows up decades later, creating this strange, powerful echo in your adult life.
This is the crazy paradox of it all. When a real crisis hits, a job loss, a family emergency, a global pandemic, you are solid as a rock. You know exactly what to do. Your nervous system was literally built for this. It almost feels comfortable, familiar.
But then there's the flip side, the simple stuff. Just sitting still without feeling like you should be productive, asking someone for help without feeling like a failure, or just being genuinely, ridiculously playful. Those small, quiet things can feel absolutely terrifying. And why? Because your internal wiring tells you that your constant vigilance is the only thing keeping everything from falling apart. And this is how that ghost shows up today. You're the person everyone calls in an emergency. You're always the fixer in your relationships. You have this deep need to control your environment because uncertainty once felt incredibly dangerous. And you live with this bone-deep exhaustion that no amount of sleep can ever seem to fix because your body never got the memo that it's safe to rest.
So when people call you a perfectionist, they're not really seeing the whole picture. This isn't about being a control freak. What they're actually seeing is the ghost of that little kid who learned, the hard way, that letting your guard down, even for a second, could lead to disaster. It's a safety mechanism, plain and simple.
Okay, now let's get into one of the biggest areas this impacts, how it completely shapes your ideas about love, about connection, and about what makes you worthy.
A long time ago, your brain learned a very powerful equation. My value is directly tied to my usefulness. To be loved is to be needed. And the world we live in, it cheers this on. Society praises you for being so independent, so capable, for handling everything on your own, without ever asking about the price you paid to get that way. This right here, this might be the single most important thing to understand. Being needed is not the same as being loved. It's a different currency altogether. And that's why it can feel so deeply weird and unsettling, maybe even threatening, when someone tries to take care of you with no strings attached. It's like they're speaking a language your system was never taught.
So, if all of this is resonating, if you're nodding along, the big question is, what now? Where do you go from here? Well, understanding it is the first huge step. The next is about gently and compassionately finding a way forward.
And this is the work. It's hard work, for sure. But it's also beautiful work. It starts with actually letting yourself feel sad, to grieve for the childhood you didn't quite get. Then it moves into the tough process of untangling your self-worth from your to-do list. And then slowly, you start to learn that foreign language of just receiving, of letting someone else take care of you.
I really want to pause on this for a second because it's so important. You are allowed to be bad at this at first. You're allowed to feel clumsy and awkward when somebody helps you. You are a beginner at letting go, and that is absolutely 100% okay.
Seriously, let's just take a moment and honor that kid. That strong, resourceful child inside you did a miraculous job. They held everything together with sheer force of will. But their shift is over. It is finally safe for them to stand down. It's okay to let someone else share the load now.
And so I'll just leave you with this question, not as a demand or another thing you have to fix, but just as a gentle invitation. What new energy, what lightness, what different version of you might have a chance to show up if you could just gently loosen your grip? Just something to think about.